Hey, welcome to Lesson 5, where we're going to discuss colors, patterns, and lines. On my workboard, I have a basic shape, a text, and a graphic that I have traced. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill these items. So we're going to go to our fill here, and I have some preset colors that are already there. That's standard. And we could select our item and fill, or we can select multiple items and fill. Here I can create my own color, or here I can set the transparency of my object. We also have a gradient setting. For the gradient setting, I can do an individual object as a gradient, or I can take all of my objects and fill one gradient across the entire object. I can adjust my gradient in the advanced options here, or I can change the angle in which way the gradient is flowing. It's kind of hard to show there. Let me show you more in the text. I can change the direction in which the gradient is going. Or I can also change down here the transparency of my gradient. I can also fill my objects with a pattern. And these are predetermined patterns that are in the program. Try to get some good examples for you. Okay. Now here I can, in the advanced settings, I can flip the patterns horizontally or vertical. This may give you a better example. I can stretch the pattern out if I need to. These aren't good examples to do that. I can rotate my pattern. These are some predetermined degrees, or I can manually rotate my pattern. And I can scale my pattern by making it larger or smaller here, or I can even pan. When you pan your pattern, you'll see this cross come up, and what you want to do is you want to drag that to pan it. And again, we have our transparency for our patterns as well. We also can adjust the lines that are around our text, our pictures, and our shapes. I can change, let's go through thickness first. I can change the thickness of a line by selecting my shape and scaling the thickness of that line. I can also change if I want it a perforated line or not. And here, I need to go to solid line. These will control a solid line, the corners. Let's see if we can get a zoomed in view. If you notice, the corners of this line are square. I can have them beveled, or I can make them rounded. These here are going to control your perforated lines or dotted lines. I can make them squared off, or I can round the edges of the actual dots. Here I can place the line in front or behind my actual graphic. And here I can choose whether or not I want them to print when I send them to the printer, not to be confused with sending it to the machine to cut. You can also change the color of the line the same way you would your fill here, but you're going to hit the color icon, the line color icon. And again, I can mix my own color or transparency as well. Now I want to go through a mistake that I've made in the past that really freaked me out. I accidentally selected my graphic, which hadn't been traced, and I accidentally filled it. Oh, let's go to fill, sorry. Accidentally filled it. And I thought simply to bring the graphic back, all I would have to do is go to unfill, and it didn't work. But thankfully we have this great undo button here, which is one of my favorite buttons, and I would just undo back to the normal state that it was in. Something I want to tell you about text, a little more advanced, is I can change each individual letter's colors or fill by selecting that actual letter and changing the color of just that. On the graphic here, and I'm going to get a little technical at this point in time, when I traced the graphic, it was one piece. I need to break these out into separate pieces if I want to color them individually. So I will select that graphic. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say release compound path. And what that does is that tells the program to look at everything individually versus one whole piece. So now I can go in and select just the portions that I want, or I can select multiple portions at the same time and color those. So I can color out my graphic in that fashion. And that's the basics of colors, patterns, and lines. We will get more in detailed in some of this in later lessons. I hope you'll join me for lesson 6. Thanks. Y'all have a great night.